And same for the previous instructing agent, we support instructing agent 1, 2, and 3. In MT, we have 56 for intermediary institution. We have 72 for previous instructing agent. There is no dedicated field. Here we are using the keyword as INS for this purpose. Now let's see the third part where we are having the creator, agent, creator, and ultimate creator. So these are the parties and the agent at the creator side. We have dedicated tag in MX for these and the MT as well. The only exception is the ultimate creator where we use the remittance information in empty world with the keyword ULTC. Now we will move to the different transaction view to get a better view of it, how these are used. So this is the very first point from where the transaction start. Normally in a transaction flow, there can be ultimate parties. Like here, ultimate debtor has sent the money to the debtor party through some mutual agreement. This is completely between them. Then it will move from here to the debtor bank. So we have taken this particular view shown in the yellow bracket and how this will move. Typically here customer instructions are used. In MX world it is called as PAN 001. In old MT world it was MT 101. If you compare the party, both has the ultimate parties. As we discussed, ULTD is a keyword that is facilitate for putting the ultimate data. There is no dedicated tag. So normally these are the parties on the left hand side that will be used: ultimate debtor, debtor party, debtor agent, and then we have intermediary agent, we have creditor agent, we have creditor as well. So this is the very first view, but let's see how this view changes when we move to the next one, where we will see from debtor to the next bank in the chain. So this is the second view where we are seeing from the debtor bank's view. So here this yellow box has been shown. In general, all things will remain same. Ultimate debtor at both side of MT and MX. Debtor also. Debtor agent also remains same. The changes comes in instructing agent and instructed agent. These agents come in the message used, that is the PAX 8 in the MX1, and in MT it is called as the header, and in the header field as sender and receiver. So these changes, and it contains the bank first, that is the debtor, and the bank second, that is the intermediary agent in between. So it is instructing agent sending to the instructed agent. We call it debtor view. Then the next one is important, which is putting the intermediary agent. So if there is a need to put particular intermediary through which the fund should move before reaching the final beneficiary bank, that information can be put in the intermediary agent 1, and in MT it can be intermediary institution. Rest all will remain same, the cater agent at both side and the cater also at the both side. Now let's see the view of the next bank. So for this view, we call it as a correspondent view, because in this part, the next bank after the debtor bank is sending the message either to the market infrastructure or any next bank in the chain. Here we will highlight the main thing that is changing here. So again, the same part that we mentioned, that instructing agent and instructed agent will change because the bank has changed. So it will be this bank who is sending it, and it will be the next bank. And in the empty world also there is a tag, but in the header part. The one difference that comes here is the dedicated settlement method tag, which is for the purpose of informing it is a clearing method or it is a swift to swift message. For clearing you use the word as CLRG, while for the swift it is INDA and INGA that we have explained in the another chapter. But in empty there is no dedicated tag, although this information also present in the header in some form, while other things typically remain same, that is the creator agent at both side and the creator also. Now let's see the last view, that is sending from the intermediary to the creator agent. So now let's look from the intermediary bank view. Here the information in the top remains very much similar. The only important difference comes is introduction of previous instructing agent. So here this party which has sent previously is put into dedicated tag so that it will inform to the next bank that it has come, this instruction has come from this bank. There is a dedicated tag in MX as shown here, while there was no dedicated tag in MT, but INS was used for that purpose using the sender to receiver tag, that is 72. While other fields changes, but it is kind of a same, that is instructing agent will be the bank who is sending it and instructed agent who will be receiving it. Same information is there in header, sender, and receiver. The one difference will be that in MT it was not mandatory to give 57A, that is the cater bank, in case it is the last bank. But in MX it is there and it has to be given. Although other field remain very much same. Now let's go to the last, in which we are trying to show you the consolidated view. So here this is a kind of a bird eye view where we have given the transaction at the left side from debtor to debtor bank, then the bank 1, then the bank 2, and the further it will be moved on. In the top in the black you will see the empty fields. In the MX it is shown in the orange color. If you will see, there is a one-to-one relation here, sender with instructing agent, receiver with instructed agent, ordering institution with debtor agent, intermediary institution with intermediary institution 1. But for the other intermediary agent like 2, there is no dedicated field. So here we use the sender to receiver information with keyword as INTA. Then we have previous instructing agent, which we use INS keyword as the two options. So these three are not dedicated field. That's why it has been shown here. While the beneficiary institution cater agent are again one-to-one field mapping in MT to MX. Here we are showing you the very first view when the debtor bank sent to the bank 1. This is the actual depiction of what we have seen in the previous slide, but it's just to show you how it moves on. Typically, just see this first one and the second one. Here, sender and receiver is always changing because of the bank. So first one, if you see the bank debtor sent to the bank 1, that's why it is like bank DR and the bank 1. Then the next one, it is the bank 1 to the bank 2. So this will always be from one bank to another. Well, ordering institution is a kind of a bank which holds the account of debtor. So it will typically remain same. While again there is a field in the last, that is a creditor agent, which will also remain same. So this beneficiary institution, ordering institution normally remains same, and it doesn't need to change because these are the final bodies. While the banks use in between, they come fall into the sender and receiver, which keeps on changing. But this is a very static pattern from one bank to another. But if you see here, the other part is that intermediary institution, intermediary agent 1, intermediary agent 2, previous instructing agent, previous instructing agent 2. So in the very first flow, it has only two things, that is the bank 2 and the bank 3. Bank 2 is basically the next bank which need to be must before sending to the beneficiary, and bank 3 is also kind of same. So here you have two field to put all this information, bank 2 and the bank 3. While there is nothing like previous because the flow started from this point. Previous will come in the next one. But when we move from bank 1 to bank 3, there is no need of putting again the bank 2 because bank 2 is receiving itself. So let's see the another view from when we move from intermediary bank to the intermediary bank 3 and the final one as well. So here if you'll see, the bank 3 also disappears here, but it has the information of bank 1 to be shown that it was the previous agent. And when it moves to the next one, then this bank 2 also punks in the information of it. So this is important to see these three things, that is the intermediary agent 1 and 2, previous instructing agent 1 and 2, are moving and shifting here and there. To show you the complete view, I'm just putting it in a single view pan. So here if you see, the first one and the second one is from one bank to another, so kind of always bank 1 to the bank B, so point to point. This one is kind of a static, always the green bank DR. The black bank CR is also static. Here you see this information keeps changing, bank to bank 3, then the bank 2 is dropped because it is going to the bank 2 itself. Then both information dropped and this become a kind of a previous information. So basically shifting that what was the bank from which I have got it, the bank 1. When the bank 3 get, then they pat the bank 2 also. So it's kind of moving information, while other information is a kind of a static or also from point to point. This is just to give you the high view. Hope it has given the understanding of agent and the parties in MT and MX world, comparing them, how it moves and shifted in the different places. That's all for this particular session. We will see you in the next lesson. Thank you.
Hello all, welcome to the lesson 5. So in this lesson we are going to check various fund transfer method. So typically in the CT world as well as in the MX world, if we divide the payment transfer, normally there are two types of it. One is customer transfer, that we will see what are the methods available and how the serial and the cover works in MT and MX as well. Then we will see bank to bank transaction, and we will try to analyze what is the new flavor in ISO 20022 and what's the normal one. And at the end of that, we have few questions to discuss in general to make the overall understanding better. So let's move to the next slide. So let's talk about the very first method, that is the customer transfer method. So in this method, typically the fund has been transferred on behalf of the customer. So a customer want to send to the end customer. So both are the individual or maybe the corporate. So basically it is done by your bank on the behalf of your retail or the corporate customer. So me as an individual or company like any Airtel or someone want to transfer the money, then it will be customer transfer. Typically, if you remember in the MT world, it was MT103 used for that purpose in the message sending format. So let's deep dive. We will see the various methods and the corresponding related messages in the next slide. So very first method comes or called as direct relationship. So when let's suppose a debtor want to send money to beneficiary, then if they both the banks, debtor bank as well as beneficiary bank has direct accounting relationship, then it is called as direct relationship method, and in which fund is directly sent from debtor bank to the beneficiary bank using the Nostro and Foster account. Then there comes a serial method in which debtor bank want to send money to beneficiary, but they do not have direct accounting relation or no message relation. So basically account of one bank with other doesn't exist directly. So what they will do, they will use to send both message as well as the fund via another bank, which may be called as correspondent. So bank A will send to another bank, and maybe one more bank required, and finally it will reach to the last bank. And the message will flow in a sequential manner from one bank to another to the next one and final one. So that is the serial method. The third method is something very similar to serial, but the advantage is the same flow of the fund happens, but there is a pre-intimation. So what happens? There is no relation accounting debtor and the beneficiary bank, but message relationship exists. So it means that debtor is capable enough to connect or send the message to inform the beneficiary bank. So what they do, they transfer the fund via the same route of one bank with whom they have the nostro relation, while they intimate the beneficiary bank that I'm going to send this information via some other bank. So other bank information are mentioned in the message that is sent to the beneficiary bank, while the fund moves via another route. So it is called as a pre-intimation, or sometimes also called as announcement. We will come to detail of it, what are the messages, how it is used in MT and MX in the next slide. Now let's see what are the bank to bank transfer method. So in bank to bank, one FI want to transfer the money to another. Typically in the existing flow of MT world, it moves from one bank to the next bank, to the next bank, and till finally to the beneficiary FI. This chain happens because bank starting bank, originating bank has a relation with the next bank in a form of accounting or may have the account, and this is how it moves over the time. Now another method is advice flow. Advice is something bank A want to send to bank B, but there are multiple bank in between, and it moves in a sequential manner, but bank A want that final beneficiary should know about it, and in that case they will use a method called advice, in which they will pre-intimate the final beneficiary bank that I'm going to send you money via some other route called as advice, while the actual money will move using the normal sequential manner. So that is called as advice method, that is new in CBPR plus, or we can better say it is in a well recognized manner in CBPR plus with a different name, that is advice, or typically called as ATV. While in the existing world MT it was also happening, but may not be very well organized or very well defined. So that's why there is no particular name to it, but it was also existing, but not very prominent. We will see how these messages flow one by one. Let's start with the customer transfer first in the next slide. So in this slide, we are talking about the customer transfer method, and we are first going to talk about the serial method. But before jumping to that, let's talk about the direct relation, which was the very first example. So in direct, let's take this particular example. There is a debtor bank and there is a creditor bank. So if there is a direct accounting relation, it will be directly able to send the message because they both have the account of each other. So that's why it is a very simple case and the very, you can say, vanilla case. We are skipping it and not going in very depth of it. So let's start with the serial. So here take the example, the debtor want to send the money to creditor. He will send to his bank and its duty is to reach the bank C, which is the final creditor bank. There is an intermediary bank in between because of which they will be able to send, because bank A doesn't have the account with the bank C. That's why they want to use the bank B. So let's see. From the accounting perspective, what we are saying, there is no relation with the bank C, while we have the relation with the intermediary bank, that is the bank B. From the message perspective also, bank A is not capable of sending the message to the bank C because they do not have a message relationship. Bank A is capable of sending message to the bank B. So this is very typical normal case of serial in which bank A can only interact via bank B to the bank C. So let's see this example how the money is moving in the empty world first, and then we will move to the MX world. So what will happen, debtor can initiate the transaction in MT101 or whatever the message format agreed between the bank and the debtor. It will flow via MT103. This MT103 will carry both the message as well as the fund, reach to the intermediary, and then intermediary will forward this message to the next bank, that is the creditor bank, and finally the creditor will receive the fund, and of course some alert process will happen. Well, if we compare the same flow with the MX, we can see that it will be very much same, but MT101 will be replaced with the PAN001 if it is used. Otherwise, there can be the API or the other methods possible. This MT103 here, it will be the PAC008, and finally the alert will happen. So this is how it will translate in ISO. Let's see the other example in the next slide. So let's start with the cover method. So we have taken the same example as previous, but if you just see the difference here, the bank A, which is debtor bank, do not have the relation with the bank of end, that is the creditor bank, but they are able to send the money via the intermediary bank, that is the bank B. But for the message relation, bank A is capable enough to send the message to bank D and also to the bank B. So now let's see how the message flow will happen and how it is in the MT and the MX world. So here we have taken four parties or the four agents A, B, C and D, the debtor bank, intermediary bank, next intermediary bank and the creditor bank. So if we see from the MT world, typically the debtor will sending MT101. Bank A will send MT103 as an announcement message to the bank D, that is the creditor bank. Bank A will send 202 cover to the next intermediary bank, which will further send to the next intermediary bank the same cover message. And finally, this intermediary will inform to the last bank using MT910 or maybe a statement message 950 or maybe in some case cover message as well. So if we compare this particular flow considering MT910 only, in MX it is going to be like this one. MT101 will be PAN001. MT103 will be PAC008 called as cover, COVE. It means that it is cover format of it. So PAX8 will have the settlement method, a tag inside it mentioned as COVE. Then for fund transfer, it will use the PAC009, which is FI to FI message with cover, and PAX9 will be further moved, cover message will be moved from the one intermediary to another. Finally, when it has to reach or to be informed to the creditor, CAM54 as an advice will be used in replace of MT910. Now let's talk about the PAX9 settlement method will be INDA or INGA. So based upon who is holding the account, instructing agent. If it is, then INGA will go. If it is instructed agent, then INDA will go. Now for the PAX9, it will also contain the underlying transaction. So it is not the normal PAX9, it is the PAX9 which having the detail of the PAX 8 other parties, that is the creditor and the debtor, or the corporate or the customer between whom the transaction is happening. So this is the comparison for the cover perspective. Now let's move and see the other part. So first take the bank to bank transfer normal method here. So here the fund has to be moved from originating FI to the beneficiary FI. As they do not have direct account A and D, it will move via the next bank and then next bank. So it will send to the another bank, bank B, and then it will send to the bank C, and finally it will reach to the bank D. So MT202 will have both the message as well as the fund information there. So it will act as a single message carrying both of them. So let's compare this one with MX for a simpler example. So MT202 will get changed with the PAX009. Here you identify that it is not mentioned with any other keyword. So it is a normal PAX009 which is similar in the next step and next similar in the next step. Only information is that it will have the ENDA or the INGA based upon instructing agent has the account, Vostro account, or INDA based upon instructing agent has the account. So this is the very simpler example of serial method for MT202. Let's see another flavor of it. This flavor is called as advice method. Earlier in the MT world, it was not directly recognizable or not considered, but it was happening. So we will only focus what is new there or how it is recognized. So basically something similar, bank A cannot send fund to bank D directly, but there are mechanisms to inform them earlier so that they are able to know, and maybe some liquidity privilege can be given and money can be better managed. So for that purpose, the flow is like bank A, bank B and C in between, and bank D. So here it will be something like this one. Typically what will happen, from direct from debtor bank, a message will go to the creditor bank or the creditor FI. That will be the PAX009. Here you see that COV is mentioned, something similar we remembered it in the customer message we have PAX008. So same will be there with the PAX009, and COVE will be mentioned as a settlement method. So that indicate that it is only to cover it or to inform you. Then the PAX9 will have from here to here, then from next bank, and then finally CAM54 to intimate the other bank that it has been created. So here this PAX9 will be the standard PAX9. The only thing is that it will have the information about the reimbursement agent as well, because it is a ADB message format. So that is all in form of the transfer method from the bank to bank and customer perspective. That's all for now. Meet you again in the next session. For now, bye bye and take care. Hello all, welcome to the lesson 6, that is about the return. This is one of the area which has been completely revamped in the MX or ISO 20022 world. We will first try to understand what is the empty return, the current scenario. Then we will see how it has been done in ISO 20022R transaction. Then we will take some use case to understand it better how it is happening in the MX mode. So let's start with first understanding the empty returns. So the very important question that comes that in the empty world, which message to be used for the return of transaction? So let's suppose the debtor has requested debtor bank to forward something to the outer world. Then debtor typically send empty 103 to initiate this transaction. Now there are the various flavors. The first one is that this can come as a return using empty 103. It can come as a return using MT202, or it can come as a return in MT199. All three flow exist in the current world. Let's understand how it is happening one by one. We will start with the very first flow, that is MT103. This is one of the most recommended flow as part of the Swift rulebooks or the various document available. So what Swift says that based upon the keyword in the MT103 tag 72 as REGT or RETN, it will be considered as reject or return. So basically this keyword when present, then Swift consider it as a return flow or the reject flow. Another important part is that there is a confusion always around the parties. Although Swift recommend that the parties is not required to be changed in the return message using these keywords, but sometime the industry keeps changing it, and that is the confusion in general. The next method is MT202. Market find that the return is happening between the two bank and not the customer initiated transaction. So why they say to use MT1 series, rather they say we will use MT2 series. That's why the most prominent one is MT202 series to be used, and 202 messages used for returning of transaction from one bank to another. Another point is some feels it is it is only because of the Vostro to be sent return. In case bank A hold the Vostro account, then it makes the sense. While if it doesn't, then even MT202 is not needed. So that's come the MT199. So what it says, you can use MT199 or maybe MT195 to reply back to I'm rejecting the transaction. But that typically used in the market when bank A is holding the actual account of bank B, and to correct the books they need to send this particular information, and also 202. While in case bank B is holding, then they will simply say I will only send 199, that I'm not accepting the transaction as it is books with me. There is no need to reply back with 202. So depending upon bank B hold the account, they send only 199. In case it is held by bank A, then they send both of them. So it is mix of it. Typically three messages use 103 recommended by the Swift, 202 because some consider it as a FI to FI transaction, 199 because some want to consider it as a just information. Because the account is hold with me, I have the right to reject. Now what are the concerns that are coming? One is the pre and the post settlement is influencing this space, but it is not very well recognized in the market that it is the only criteria. There is no standard return message currently existing. It is mix of the above message that I explained to you. There is no dedicated, you can say, return handling approach has been standardized in this particular empty world. There are multiple, but not one flow is used by all of them. So let's see how in MX these all are taken care. So let's take the concerns one by one and try to understand how it has been resolved. The very first concern is pre and post settlement that is not very clearly distinguished currently. So what is the market understanding or now the current understanding with evolving world? Return is when the account which is held by the party is debited, that is called as return. Anything happening after that. So for example, instructing agent holds the Vostro account. So let's suppose this bank, which instructing agent, is holding the account. Then it is considered as post settlement return if other party want to return it. Well, reject is something which is happening before settlement. So in a case when account is held by the another bank, that is the bank B, then it will be called as a reject, because when I'm sending it, I'm not debiting the actual account. So that's why it will be called as a reject. So typically this is the understanding that has been established, and based upon same, ISO 20022 has come with a settlement method that has to be present in the tag of the PAX 008. So let's say when instructing agent hold the account, that is in this case, and they are forwarding the PAX 008 message, then ideally the settlement method should have the keyword as INGA, which means I am holding the account and I am debited that. While if case instructed agent hold the account, then it will be INDA. So now what it is saying, when PAX 8 is received with INGA, then receiver uses the return because his account is already debited. So it will be return. While for INDA, it will use the reject method. So that is the basic definition and how this method has been improved with the settlement method. But note, in case you receive it here, account is held here, and after debiting the Vostro account, if required, then the PAX 4 will be still done. So here two cases can happen, PAX 2 as well as the PAX 4. PAX 2 if you do before settlement of Vostro account, if you do after settlement, then the PAX 4 can happen as well. Then there come what are the dedicated message available. So two message typically use. One is the PAX 002, which is used for pre-settlement cases or reject scenarios with the indication of RJCT keyword in the transaction status tag. While for return, it uses the PAX 004. It is a dedicated message for the return. The, the facilities or the capabilities that these messages are providing to us, there's a dedicated tag for the reason code, so you will able to put the code in a dedicated tag. You have a code list standard given by ISO which has to be used, so each parties are using the same set of code rather than any free format code. There's a linkage with the original transaction, so each PAX 4 can be easily recognized to which it is linking with the PAX 8. Then there's a return chain which gives the exact party which is now becoming the debtor or which is now becoming the creditor bank. So return chain will give the actual name while the other part can remain as it. So it is a very clear information that is providing, not confusion of the parties, no confusion of it is before settlement, after settlement, proper dedicated code with a standard set of things. Now let's try to use it in the various examples to better explain it out to you. So let's take the very first example, which we'll call as the settlement method INDA. So basically, debtor bank is sending to the another bank, intermediary bank, which is holding the account. So this bank is the holding of Vostro account. So when the PAX 8 will move from debtor bank to the intermediary bank, it will have the settlement method as INDA. As this bank is holding the account, on validating the transaction, it finds that it cannot be processed. It will reject the transaction using the PAX 002. Now taking the next example in which instructing bank debtor is holding the Vostro account. So same thing will go here in the PAX 8 with INGA, but in this case this particular bank intermediary will not be able to send PAX 2 because it is not holding the account. So here PAX 4 will go. Just to understand, PAX 4 also has a settlement method, so it has to be indicated with INDA. The next method is the cover method, which we have earlier understand. For the cover scenario, if debtor bank is sending to the creditor bank in which there is no account, so ideally INDA or INGA cannot be used. So in PAX 8, COV keyword will be used. While the PAX 9 sent by the debtor bank to the intermediary, it will have the COVE code word. Next, moving forward, clearing cases. So which is very common in the MI. One bank sent to the clearing house and clearing house sent to the next one. Here the clearing house is the holding account of both the banks. So when you send debtor bank send PAX 008, then Then CLRG keyword has to be used. As MI is holding the account, they will be able to reject using the pack 002. While when it has been sent to the other bank, they will not be able to use pack 002 because their account has been already debited or created based upon post settlement method if the MI is using it. So in this case, packs 4 will be used. So that is all for example in which you can understand the purpose of different transfer method and their uses in a form of a settlement habit. So this is all about the return which I'm trying to cover this one. So for now, bye bye and take care. Meet you in the next lesson.